Hey guys, how you going? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to create breadcrumbs from scratch for the web using HTML and CSS. So basically, for those of you who don't know, breadcrumbs are like little bits of navigation which you'll find typically on the top of a web page, and it allows the user to see where they are currently relative to the rest of the website, and also go back and actually link to those previous pages. So for example, in these two examples here, we can see up top here, this person might be navigating nature photos, as you can see right here by the bolded text, but they can also go back and see where they came from. They came from home, then media, then photos, and then finally they've reached the nature page. And they can also go back and actually click on these links to navigate back to where they came from. And a second example here, home, electronics, laptops, and then Windows. So those right there are the two different examples I'll be showing you how to create in this video. And the main difference between these two examples is, of course, the only difference is the icon used between the links. So the top one here is going to be using forward slashes, and the bottom one is using these little arrow icons. So personally, I prefer the arrow icon version over the forward slash version, but I think you'll find that on many websites out there, the forward slash version is probably the most common one to find. So anyway, it's a very simple example, which means it's also very simple to code. So let's go inside this tab right here, and we can start from scratch. So inside the text editor for this file, it currently looks like this. We can see a very simple HTML skeleton. So firstly, let's run through the HTML to create the breadcrumbs. So it's going to be represented using an unordered list. So let's go ahead here and create a new UL with a class of breadcrumbs, just like that. Okay. And now inside here, we can create each one of those breadcrumbs items. So we can do this, of course, being inside a list. We can create new allies with a class of breadcrumbs __ item. So once again, on my channel, I'm using the BEM block element modifier CSS naming convention. So breadcrumbs item to represent each individual breadcrumbs item. Okay. Once we're inside here, we can make a new anchor tag, and this, of course, is going to be the actual link. So we can say A with a class of breadcrumbs __ link. Okay, and for demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave the href to be blank for this video. For the content, this of course is where your actual text will go. So for example, let's say home, just like that. So this one right here is going to be the home, media, photos, and then nature example. Okay. We can then duplicate these three lines for each individual link. We can say right here, media, then photos, and then finally nature, and in brackets 2019. Okay. So for this last link, as we can see back on the example, it is bold and it looks a bit different, so a different color, and it's also bold. So for this, we're going to be using a separate class, a modifier class, on the actual anchor tag. So back inside here, let's add, and we can say breadcrumbs link, and then -- and then active. So right here, this active class, of course, signifies that this link is the active link or the current page. So now the HTML is complete for the breadcrumbs. Let's just save this file and go inside the blank file, refresh, and we can see right here, of course, we get a very simple list in the HTML. So now we can quite easily use CSS to style this and make it horizontal and add all of the effects. So back inside the file, let's head up inside the CSS, and we can begin by styling the actual breadcrumbs main unordered list element. So up here, we can say breadcrumbs as a class, and we can firstly just say padding and make this 10 pixels. So basically, this is going to remove the default padding that is set by the actual unordered list, and it's also going to add padding all around the breadcrumbs itself. And this right here is completely optional. In fact, in your use case, a 0 padding might actually be better because there'll be less space around the breadcrumbs. But anyway, for my example, I'm going to make this 10 pixels. I'm also going to say font family and make this sans serif just for now. I'll be including a different font later on. So saving this and then refreshing gives us this right here. As you can see, the font has changed to sans serif, and also the actual padding has changed. It's gone from, I believe, 40 pixels to 10 pixels. Okay, so now we can make all of these items go horizontal instead of vertical. Back inside here, it is a one-line change. We can simply target the breadcrumbs __ item class, so of course the actual list items themselves, and we can say right here, display, and make this inline block. So now saving this and refreshing gives us this right here. So obviously we're getting closer, we've got the base structure going. We can now work on creating the dividers between each one of these items. This is very straightforward using CSS. So back inside here, let's create a bit of a complicated selector, but not too complicated, okay? It's going to look like this. We're going to say breadcrumbs item, okay? And we're going to say colon and then say not. So basically, we're going to select the breadcrumbs item, which is not what I put inside here. I'm going to say last of type. Okay, so we're saying select each breadcrumbs item, which is not the last one of that type. So basically, we're selecting 1, 2, and 3. So not the last one. So selecting every single item that is not the last one. Okay. Then we can say colon after. This right here is going to create a CSS pseudo element, basically just a virtual element inside CSS. And this one is going to contain the symbol for the / or the arrow. So now inside here we can say content and make this /. Essentially, the content allows you to specify what goes inside the virtual element. In our case, we want to make it a /. We can also say margin and make this 0 and then 5 pixels. So basically 0 top and bottom and 5 px for the left and right. We can also say color and make it just a light gray. So now saving this and refreshing gives us this right here. We can see the elements have successfully been created, and it's only going to be creating them when it's not the last breadcrumbs item. As you can see here, expanding this inside the inspector, for the third one, we can see we get this after pseudo element right here working perfectly fine. Okay, so now we can move on to actually styling the links themselves. So for this, let's go back inside here and target the breadcrumbs __ link class. We can say text decoration, and we can just remove the underline by saying none, just like that, and make it a color, and this will be a darker version or slightly darker gray compared to the breadcrumbs item just up here. So now saving this and refreshing will give us this right here. So not bad so far. We can now just reinsert the underline when they hover over the link. For this, very straightforward. We can simply say breadcrumbs link and then colon hover, and we can say text decoration and make this underline back to what it was previously. So now saving this and refreshing gives us this right here. So now the last two steps is going to be including the font and also just making this bold and a different color for the active link. So back inside here, let's target the breadcrumbs link -- active, so the active modifier for this element down here. So for this, we can very simply say color. I'm going to make this the dcode green color, so 009, 5, and then 78. Okay, and also a font weight. I'm going to make this 500. Okay, this will be used in conjunction with the custom font, which I'll be loading very shortly. But for now, let's save this and refresh, and we can see right here we get a green for the last item. So that's basically it. So now if you want to load a custom font, it's very straightforward. Just head over to fonts.google.com, okay? And right here, you can choose any one of these free to use fonts for your web page. Right here, I'm going to select Roboto. So press this plus right up here, and then expanding this one here, we can go into the customize section. I'm going to pick regular 400 and also 500 as my font sizes, okay? And this 500 is very important because I specified 500 right here as my font weight. So once your font has been chosen, just go back inside the embed section and just copy and paste, of course, this link right here and put it inside your HTML file inside the head section. So now you can just go back to the Google page and we can see the usage of this font. We can see use it by saying font family and make it Roboto and then sans serif. So back inside here, let's change this font family for the Breadcrumbs class to be Roboto and then sans serif. So now saving this and refreshing gives us this right here. Obviously custom font, and the 500 weight has been, is now working. That's basically how you can create the breadcrumbs. Obviously this is the first style. So if you want to add this custom icon as your divider, it's very straightforward. You simply replace the content for your pseudo element. So back inside here, let's go into the after pseudo element selector and replace this content with a backslash and then 203A. That right there is the Unicode representation of a little arrow icon to the right. Okay, so now saving this and refreshing is going to give us this right here with that custom icon included as the divider. And that right there is how you can create breadcrumbs from scratch using HTML and of course CSS. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.